Greg,
It's great to see you, Wendy. Haven't seen you in a while.
I know. I've been MIA.
It's okay. It's
It's
worth
been,
the
life
wait
gets
to
in the
see
way,
you.
right?
sorry?
I said it's been worth the wait to see you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's been weird out here, but
Where do you live?
Orange County. So I'm right
Oxnard.
between San Diego and LA.
Yep. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Newport Beach, right? That area.
Yep.
Yeah,
hmm
I love
Is
Newport
a,
Beach.
is a bar called Mutt Lynch's still there?
No, it hasn't been there for a while, but yeah.
My college roommate lived there, and we had all went and visited him one time, and I think we spent a week there in a day with those big glass, beer glass. Oh, Maron. My
Yeah,
wife
I'm not
was
all
not
of
happy
that.
when he was the first married, and six of us just showed up on his front door one day
Uh,
and said, "Hey, by the way, we're here for the weekend to party with you." And he was
Excuse me a
happy.
second. Yep.
I love it.
Thanks. Well,
So he probably doesn't remember getting married then, does he?
for you. I'll come back.
Yeah,
I'll be here.
she's not, yeah, he's got a
I
new
just
wife
switched the room.
since then.
Okay. It happens to the best of us.
Hey, you know what? Get at it. Learn. Was it firstborn, second wife, and third realtor?
Is that what it is? Man.
I'm not doing it twice. I know. I've opted in once.
Well, after you've invested so much time, I mean, my goodness, just stick it out.
I'm housebroken. I know how to put the toilet seat down. I hold doors. I do all those things. You know what I mean? Every now and then, you're like a bad puppy. You leave things around the house and you get in trouble for, just like a little smack. And you're like, okay, I'm back in line.
If that's the biggest crime a person makes, it's a good world.
There you go.
We're gonna give everybody an extra minute or two to get on today, just because we have the new link, and I know it's gonna screw up 85% of the
Hmm,
people.
sure.
What's up, Mitch? What's up, Lurch? Hi,
What's
Wendy.
going on?
All right.
We're getting all
Okay.
your weather out here. It's like in the 80s and beautiful, but a lot of pollen.
Yeah,
I was up in D.C. In Virginia this past week, and I was like dying. I couldn't figure out why. I forget every time I go up north, I get killed with allergies.
Yeah, it's
I don't
brutal
have them
right
here in
now.
Florida. I don't have any allergy, well, except for I'm allergic to cold. This is a really weird thing. It's called cold urticaria. So I got this, I'm from Boston, and I almost died from it in 2004. I went to anaphylactic shock. Um, yeah, from cold. Go figure. Um, but my all my pollen issues, like I had really bad hay fever up north. No issues down here, but as soon as I go up north, I just get killed.
yeah.
Got to get your car washed every day. Literally. Thank God we have that unlimited. I have the unlimited wash, and I just drive through it every day.
Right, right. Yeah. So I know you guys are just be patient on here for a minute, guys, while we're waiting for everybody else to get on because the new. I know I got Dre on the other Zoom sending people over here because I know people are going to go over there and not be here because we're realtors. We don't follow directions very well.
We have about 20 people in the other link right now. They're all coming over. I just redirected.
Yeah, yeah. I knew there would be a.
Hey, Mitch, there's also another challenge. Some of us are guys, and we don't use our ears and our mouth in
Yeah,
proportion. So
so
we don't.
realtor guys
Thank
would be the
you.
worst. Yeah.
Hey, Wen, I told you I was housebroken. I
Yeah.
told you. Wendy, I got to tell you, I've got a 21-year-old daughter, and she keeps training puppies, these boys. I'm like, when are you going to just stop? Just leave them all alone for a little bit. When you get a little older, you'll find somebody. She literally will walk up to a door and look at them and say, "It ain't opening itself." I mean,
Right.
she calls them. She'll hold her coat up. It ain't putting itself on. I mean, she's tough, man.
Well done, you.
She goes and stands at the
Funny.
car door. He's like, "What's wrong?" She goes, over here, come here." I'm like,
My wife has domesticated me so much that I wake up every morning and say, I apologize. She's like, for what? I go, for whatever I do today. Yes, I found, I call it, I tell people I just succumbed. It was easier.
my
Yeah.
father-in-law taught me something many, many years ago when I think it's been 37 years now. I've been with Linda. He goes, first of all, don't pick on girls. She's smaller than you. Second of all, don't pick on girls. She's smaller than you, and she'll kill you. I'm like, okay.
Yes. And the smaller, the more dangerous. So it's why I'm
Ooh.
terrified of my wife. She's only 4'9". She scares me. So, well, why don't we go ahead and start? Actually, let's wait another minute. I know people have already been here in time. I hate doing late, but let's give one more minute because I know there's a bunch of people coming on right now. There's only, I don't know where the rest of our panel is, but they'll show up at some point. Got people texting me too. So we might keep that house up. Helps. I have Michael work with me on up north. We might keep that house for and rehab it and keep it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're debating.
Chances to deal with your allergies and see me.
Well, we'll use it in rental. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I couldn't live up there. But it's a great lot. It's on a lake and
Yeah.
pretty area. And so,
That's what he was saying. Hello, Bridget. Now we got 2 roses among the
morning.
thorns.
and 3 thorns.
And we got is Gail in
Hi,
there
Bridget.
somewhere? I see Gail.
Hi, good morning.
Morning. All right, let's go ahead and get rolling, just because I know we got other people coming on and stuff, but I want to be conscious of everybody's time. And I see Gail's on there, but I don't see her camera access. I don't know why that's like that. We'll figure that out. But anyways, so today's subject is how to be a good team leader, right? A team member. So since all of us have run teams at some point, I think we can have a really good insight into this. And we'll go ahead with you, Ross. We'll get started with Ross, and then we'll go from there. But talk about what you were looking for in a team member and all that stuff.
Awesome. Cool. So I've been running a team now for, I think, 10 years. And we have multiple lead platforms, multiple options for our team members. But the people who've had the most success are people who adopt culture, they adopt systems, and they buy into what their specific team is doing. And I think it's important as a team member to take a look at the team as a whole, not at the sales production, not at what kind of leads they're giving or what kind of opportunity, but find someone that you feel like you can mirror yourself after, because they're truly going to be your mentor. If you go into a place to where you're like, man, they're producing, this is great for me, but I don't really like the atmosphere. I don't really like, or not, maybe like isn't the best word, but I don't really identify with the team lead. That's going to be a big pain point right off the bat, just because you're going to be kind of out of place in your own mind. So when I'm talking to my team members, and most of us are wildly different, right? We're not all wired the same, but we can find the same core values and the same principles that we all want to conduct business in, and we're all going to do it in our own way. But at its core, it's going to be very similar to what I've set my business out to do. So my best team members were people that really dug themselves into me. They decided, hey, I'm going to really use this opportunity to be with someone who's been in the business a little longer than me, who's had a little bit of success. And I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I want to dig into what he's doing. So my closest team members, and it's, as a team lead, you got to keep that friend team member barrier, because then all of a sudden you can't be buddy with everybody in front of your team. So there's always going to be that professional buffer there. But those guys and those girls, they really emulated the things that I was teaching and the things that I was wanting them to do on a daily basis. They did the time blocking. They did the activities that are going to lead to success. They did the follow-up. And they realized when you're first starting a business, and as a team member, you're probably just getting started. And when you're first joining into the business, they realize their time isn't worth $1,000 an hour yet. You gotta grow and expand into that. So if you can treat your time like your hair's on fire and you got to start making money now, that's where you're going to find that early success. Because if you try and act like your team lead, who you may think, wow, he's just so laissez-faire and he's not even around, when behind the scenes he's doing 42 Zooms a day, he's got 6 listing appointments, and he's working on 3 deals that are about to blow up. But to your face, he's got it all together. She's got it all together. So in reality, as a team member, you may not see what's going on behind the scenes. You may not know what it's like to have that successful real estate career yet. But if you can build it up by going on a frenzy and really taking advantage of every opportunity in front of you and really utilizing why you joined the team, figure out why, what's your why did you join this team? And then dig into that and execute those activities, that mindset, and that'll bring you into being the best team member on the team, will lead to success. So that's all I got right there.
Great, that's great. Yeah, and you'll hear a common theme, I'm sure, within this group here, is plug in. If you don't plug in, nothing works, right? Let's go to Wendy.
I had myself muted. My dog is so loud this morning. Yeah, I was thinking about, I don't have a big team now, but when I did, the one thing I saw that disappointed me most was, to Ross's point, the team members all see us and they think it's come so easily for us because we don't show them the drama behind the scenes. They don't need to see that. That's for us to manage. And I had too many team members, once they got one really big whale of a client, because we had an up system with leads and all of that. Once they got a really big client, then they wanted to bail and leave the team. Um, and I thought it was a bit short-sighted. And I know it's a common problem, growing talent and retaining talent is the ongoing issue. But in only one instance did someone decide that he wanted to leave the team because he got a multi-million-dollar deal several years ago, and then came crawling back. And I had to say no. We had to set the example for the team. So I would say not only plug in and participate, but understand that what goes around comes around, and be there for the others.
Right. Yeah, well, if you're gonna be a team, you need to be a team member, right?
Yeah.
And be part of that. Let's talk to Bridget. Hi, Bridget. Nice to have you on here with us.
Hi, good morning. Thank you. It's great to be here. So with the team, I have a self-directed team with EXP, meaning, basically people are acting as individuals, yet we can collaborate on certain things. And I'm a certified mentor. So the number one thing in being a team member is you have to be self-directed. I'm very particular. I will not bring on anyone. A lot of agents, and I hear this all the time, they'll be excited and they'll feel like, oh, they've got a lot of value, or we're sold a bag of goods and then weren't delivered. But the key thing is, plugging in times 10. We have all of the assets there, right? But unless you plug in, unless you show up to the meeting, unless you're, doing your prospecting, right? It's live or die with prospecting. You have to be self-directed. That's the number one. Self-directed and communication. If you're not communicating, you're not plugging in, then you're not part of the team. And it is incredibly valuable, to Ross's point, that you really feel like you're connected to your team. That's also a big theme I'm hearing. Like, I'm on this team, I got here because of XYZ, but I don't really relate to the people. I don't feel part of that culture. And so I think that is huge, because when you feel part of a culture, then you're 100% more motivated to be on the team, to do the things you need to do. So just the number one thing is plug into all the tools that you're given wherever you are, and then communicate with your team leader, with your transaction coordinator. You have to be key on communication, and you have to hustle. I mean, you shouldn't be in real estate if you're not a hustler, no matter if you're getting leads or not. This is a hustle business, and you got to hustle every single day. But so as a team member, that doing what you need to do, don't make excuses, and do it consistently, but also find your tribe, find the people that you relate to and you're excited to work with and you feel supportive with. That would be my advice to people that are looking to be on a team, or who are on a team already. That's the key element, to feel connected and motivated, and that you're really getting the support you need. If you're not getting the support you need, not only with leads, people join teams with leads, but if you're not getting the support you need in the middle of a transaction, because you don't know until you know. It can be the simplest question, right? But until you know the answer, who typically pays for a home warranty? Until you know that, you don't know that. And you need in the beginning somebody to give you that step-by-step playbook on even how to just, what's typical? What do I ask for? What should I ask for on a request for repair? The seller wants this, the buyer wants that. So having somebody who could say, this is what's reasonable, this is what's typical, that is another huge value, because if you're in the middle of a transaction and, the deals or the negotiations going back and forth, the other agent will smell that you're green for sure. And they'll know right away. And you'll be lost if you don't have that really intimate training on what to do in the middle of a transaction. So that transcends beyond I'm getting Zillow leads, I was promised leads. That's one of the biggest values that a team leader can bring, is really picking up that phone in the middle of a transaction and being there to not only say do this, but explain why we're doing this, so the person is learning long term on what what they should be asking for or not be asking for. So, but the biggest thing is, you want team members that are self-directed, will not make excuses, and then are really good with communication. You don't want people to go rogue, right? So those would be my two things. And those are the things that, I'm looking for as I add people on my team. It's the number one thing: communicate, transparency, and do what you're going to do. It's your career. You've got to grow.
I love the self-directed aspect, Bridget, because a lot of people will come onto a team and be like, you're my team lead, do this for me. Right. And that's not what a team leader is there for. We're there to support. We're there to answer all those questions, lead them through the transaction. Like you're saying, that's a good team leader. But a bad team member is someone who expects us to go out and be like, oh, well, it's your first time, so let me do this for you. And then all of a sudden, every transaction they have, they're like, well, why is my team lead doing my ABID for me? How come they're not going on showings with me? Self-directed is such a key thing. I'm glad you brought that up.
It is. Thank you. Yeah, it goes beyond plugging in, because you can plug in, but you have to take being on this meeting, take the nuggets and the direction and the playbook and put it in action. Be self-directed, be self-motivated, right? There's only a certain amount of people in the world that really are, that can be on sales and wake up every day and do what they're supposed to do and prospect. If that's not you, you're in the wrong business. You have to execute and just be self-directed in all of those things, and utilize what you've learned and go do it. I take notes on this meeting all the time and go implement them, to, down to when we did open houses, getting a taco truck there, a day before, because I had just heard that and I thought, what a great idea. So you have to implement, be self-directed, and implement what you're being taught.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, and it is true. One of the things, and I'll talk a little more about this when I speak, but you have to understand is that your team leader is only going to pour into you as much as you pour into the team. Right? I mean, when I had my team, I didn't spend, honestly, if you weren't plugging in, if you weren't showing up to our meetings, if you weren't being part of the training processes and all that stuff, I wasn't there for you. I mean, I'm just being honest. I wasn't going to spend my time with someone that I knew was going to fail in the business. And if you're not doing it, you are going to fail in the business. Let's go over to Lurchy. Go ahead, Craig.
Hey, from doing this from a long time, I was taught in the first 3 weeks by a gentleman by the name of Alan Dom that if you're doing this alone, you are your own assistant. So what you need to do is figure out your strengths and weaknesses and figure out other people's strengths and weaknesses and combine them. Okay, whether you're out as a buyer specialist, a listing specialist, whatever it may be, an admin, an executive assistant, there's a hierarchy in which you need to hire and go with. You're not going to go right to a buyer specialist when you're still doing the paperwork. You're going to hire an admin. And if you're better in that role than you are out with people and clients, go to a very successful agent and say, these are my strengths, these are my weaknesses. How can I help you get better that's going to reward me also? And what I've also always said to my team, which started as me and then one person and then to 15 and then to 3 offices and 50 agents, and then it got squashed down to 8 after I went to 1 office. Let me tell you something. It's not easy being a team lead, because you go home with everybody's stinking monkey on your back. And there was nowhere, and I put in their and I had the contract when we talked about the employment, is that you have the right to dump your problems on me and walk away. I'm not here to solve your problems. I'm here to teach you. I want you to come with answers. I want to see you accelerate. I want to see you grow. And at some point, if you want to fly, great. I achieved my goal. And that's what I like about EXP. You can stay here within the same company and go do your own thing. So if you're not in that with us in EXP here, you can fly out of companies and whatever it might be, but within EXP, you can always come off of a team and go do what you got to do, however you have that relationship. But if you have to ask for a raise, if you have to ask for leads, if you have to be, want to get those things, you're not doing the work. And I've said to them my team all the time, if you have to ask for a raise or ask for a bonus or a random act of kindness from me, you haven't exceeded my expectations. And I've told my children that growing up. Once you exceed people's expectations, people want to pull you. And again, it's also the people that are around you. It's the contractors you're working with. It's the title company. It's the lawyers. They're your team also. So you might be one person, but they're an extension of you. They're tentacles of you that are touching your client. So when you're marketing yourself, market yourself with pictures and make yourself like a peacock and make yourself look bigger than a single plume, like EXP does with a lot of us. We can be looking like this is a single agent, but then if you want to become a peacock, you can put out as much strength and show as big as we are of our 90,000 agents as all part of our team and our partnership. So you got to decide who, where, what you want to be when you grow up. Understand that there's requirements and expectations of every role. You can't be two different things when you're there. All right. Fona, my VA, we're now hiring her a VA. Why? Because we've realized, one, she's like me. We knew when we did the DISC test that she's like me. But for somebody to take the things off of me and finish what I want, we needed somebody like me. While I'm dealing with the public, she can deal with the office stuff. Now what we're doing is finding somebody for her and me, which is on the opposite prism of things. It's very analytical, very data-driven and all that stuff. So those two will communicate well because she's filling the void in the administration part of the team that we have while I'm out on the street. You don't make money sitting behind a desk. You make money seeing people face to face. So if you're buyer specialists, go out and knock on doors of businesses. Go pet dogs, kiss babies, buy ice cream. Do whatever. Okay, it will work. So I know I went on a tangent a little bit, but know your strengths, know your weaknesses as a team member and also as a team lead. Just because you're a team lead doesn't mean you're a good one. We've all had chances of times of failure. And when you look in the mirror, you understand something. It starts and it ends with you. The dash in between is what you're willing to do to help everybody else. So
cool. Excellent. Excellent. Randy. Let's go to Randy. Then we'll go to the funky glasses girl.
All right. So with teams, so the way I ran a brokerage, like some of you have, I know Mitch has. I learned a lot through that. It was a lot of work, and I don't recommend others to open up their own brokerages anymore, because it is a lot of work. It's a lot of babysitting, and it taught me a lot about watching agents, the ones that, failed, the ones that were successful. And the common thing is, I think what you're hearing here, if you're listening, is that the ones that took action, they actually succeeded, like shocking, right? And the ones that didn't, they were the ones that complained the most, and the ones that would blame the brokerage for their non-success, right? And then they would jump to another brokerage because they were not doing any deals, because they were not taking action, they were not getting plugged in, and they thought it was going to be better somewhere else, only to find out it's the same, right? So they just keep jumping from brokerage to brokerage, not really looking at themselves, that it's really their fault, right? They should be pointing fingers at themselves. And that's very common in the brokerage industry, right? Agents, I think they also have a misconception of what a brokerage will do for them, or even a team leader. And that could be, maybe a little bit of a fault of the industry, not teaching that better. I don't know. I don't know whose fault that is, but the reality is I do think that a lot of agents that, when I would interview brand new agents that had no like no bad habits at all. The initial interview, they would come in like in a tie, and here I am in flip-flops and a hat in San Diego, just and I actually respected that because they didn't know any better. So I was able to tell them from the beginning, like, this is not easy. Like what you see on TV, like forget about it. Like throw that out the window, right? And I would ask them right away, I'm like, look, if your first question or concern is going to be how much is the commission split, then we're not the team for you. We're not the brokerage for you. Like these are the kind of interviews I would have with new agents. And the ones that they were like, look, no, I just want to learn. To me, it's not about the commission, it's about learning. That's the successful agent that is the up and coming agent that I want to work with, right? So what I want you to take away from this is like, if you're constantly just thinking about commission as a new agent, then you're looking at it the wrong way. Like it's all, you should be thinking about like, okay, if I join this team, what can I learn? Who can I leverage here that can get me to experience, more transactions faster, right? And help me in those tough situations versus how much will I make if I bring in a client? Like that's the wrong way of thinking, right? And you're going to be out of business. You'll be the statistic, right? Where 9 out of 10 agents fail. And I'm honest with the agents that I talk to that want to join us. It's like, look, odds are against you. You know that, right? Like they're totally against you. Like very few succeed. Like, are you okay with that? And then I ask them, are you more of an employee type where you need to be told what to do and you need structure, you need meetings and you need everything given to you? Or are you more of an independent, self-starter, self-motivated entrepreneur type? Because if they tell me they want more structure, they want leads, they want everything, I'm like, then you need to join a team that provides leads, that provides that structure. And they're out there. And I know of those over in San Diego, who they are at EXP. And I say, look, I am not the best fit. You should go talk to them. They will give you that employee structure. Now, here's the good thing and the bad thing I tell those team members or those up and coming agents, like, the good thing in that structure is that you get leads and you learn fast. The negative or bad thing in that structure is that you usually will not get any credit for any of the sales because they go all under the team leader. So 2 years down the road, you look like you've closed nothing. However, you've learned a lot. Which one would you rather have? That's up to you to decide, not up to me, but you need to decide, right? So I'm very honest with them of what the structure of the industry is. And then, of course, some team leaders later allow you to be on the MLS and start building that experience on. And so you can show up on Zillow with closings and all that for the public to see. But usually it's the team leader that takes the credit, right? However, you're making money and you're learning. So what's more important to you in the beginning, right? And for those type of agents, it should be the experience and making some money along the way. Should it be the highest commission split? No, right? But then on the flip side, I say, look, if you feel like you're a self-starter, you're a self-motivated person, I don't need to call you every day to motivate you, like, then you might want to consider joining us. This is our structure where, we're a virtual team. That's how we run it. We have meetings every couple of weeks, but then you got to go out there and you got to hustle, right? You got to watch the trainings that are out there that we provide you, that EXP provides you. I was like, there's no lack of training for you to succeed at any brokerage. I could probably guarantee you that. It's just a lack of action that's going to hinder you from actually succeeding. But what I do know with new agents is that when they actually get started and they're excited and they have no experience, but they are entrepreneurial minded, self-motivated, they are still going to have an objection to overcome with new people they meet because they have no experience. So what I tell them with my team members, I say, look, when you meet new people, right now, leverage my experience as yours. So when you start going out there and talking with people, use the words we. My business partner, Randy, and I, we have closed over 1,600 homes in San Diego County. Would you like to meet with my business partner this week or next week? What works better? And all I'm trying to make them do is set up an appointment, right? But if we go that route, I tell them, we're going to do it 50-50. That is a partnership. We are partnering with that client together. That's not mentorship, because I'm going to take the wheel. You're going to watch, you're going to be on the calls, you're going to be on the listing agreements or buyer broker agreement. You're going to be in the trenches of the transaction on all the emails, but I'm taking the wheel, right? And that is not a mentorship 10% fee or whatever, EXP has structured. That's a 50-50 partnership. Not required, but I recommend it. Would you like to consider doing that? So a lot of the new team members that join us, it's voluntary, but guess what? They actually choose to do it. They partner with me on their initial clients that they are just nervous because they have no idea what they're doing. And I think it was Bridget that mentioned this. It's like the experienced agents on the other side of the transactions, they're going to smell it that you're new. Like, I mean, the moment you speak, they'll be like, yep, brand new agent. And they're just going to walk all over you, right? And you wouldn't even know. And you're like, well, that was weird, but that's what's happening, right? So I'm honest with the new agents, like, this is what you're going to experience if you're going to try to do this on your own. Can you do it? Yes. Will you do will that be a good experience for you and your client? No, right? So what I recommend, you partner with us for the first few, whatever you want, 2, 3, whatever, as long as you feel comfortable where you think you can really serve your client the right way. And most of them will choose to do it with me 3, 4 transactions, and then they slowly go on their own, right? Within my team still, right? As individual, self-motivated, entrepreneurial, because that's what they feel they are. But that doesn't mean that just because you're self-motivated and you are, entrepreneurial kind of minded, that doesn't mean that you can handle a client in a brand new industry. Like, you still have no idea what you're doing, right? So you just have to have a very clear understanding kind of who you are, where you fit better, and find the teams that fit and align with what you're after and what your strengths are, kind of like what many of us are talking about, because that will dictate your experience of the industry. And by making the wrong decision, you might say, oh, being a realtor just sucks. Well, does it? Or did you choose wrong, right? But you might realize that maybe this is not the business for you. And guess what? You're better off learning that faster than slower. So if you need to get out of the business faster, good for you, get out, right? Because it's going to be miserable. And the last thing I tell my new agents is like, if you don't have steady income coming in as you're getting into this business from somewhere else, you are going to have desperation breath all over you. And the clients are also going to smell it. And and that's the worst position to be with. So if you're telling me you need to have a closing the next month, go get a job. I'm like, or join a team that sends you leads, like we discussed earlier. Because I tell them, I don't want you to be financially stressed trying to build your business. Like, it doesn't work that way. Like, that's really hard to do, right? So anyway, so those are all kind of the tips that I talk about when I interview new agents that say, oh, Randy, I want to join your team. There you go.
Great stuff. Great stuff. All right, Miss Gail Damaco, smartest woman I know in the world.
I came in here.
Besides my wife, of course.
Came in here a little bit late, but I already feel like I'm going to get shingles off of this topic because I have never been so frustrated as dealing with new agents. Okay, I remember when I came on the scene 10 years ago, I found the very best guy, and I told him, "Here's what I will do." He actually owns a Sotheby's right now, where I used to work in California. I was his very first agent before he owned the Sotheby's. And I said, I will take your car to the car wash. I will take your dog to the vet. I will take your laundry to the dry cleaners. I will do whatever it takes so you can have some time and go with your family. All I ask you is let me be a fly on the wall. I will find my own business. I'm not asking for handouts, but I worked my ass off. And when I say that, for 4 to 5 years before I made my first $1 million, right? And what I cannot even fathom, especially in this freaking market, I mean, I have team members on this right now, so they'll probably quit after this call. I've never seen so many lazy people who, they know if they need something, they could reach out to me. But like most of you don't know, I've been out of the scene for about 3 months because I've been taking care of my mom in hospital. Like, she's almost in hospice. But I got 8 fucking listings in the hospice waiting room, okay? Because I don't let anything change what my plan is. I'd go in and say, Mom, look. She goes, where were you? I said, I got another listing. She's like, go get another. So for all these lazy, and Lurch, you know this, right? Because Lurch has been checking in on me and he's been fucking awesome. And all these other people like, I'm dying. You know, I'm gonna switch brokerages. Well, fuck you guys. Switch brokerages. Nothing's gonna change. Nothing's gonna change. You have to change. You have to put the work in. You got to make your own reality, because right now you guys aren't living in reality. You're depending on us team leaders to feed you. We are not, you know, we can teach you, but we're not going to, you know, we're not here to create your business. You're here to create your own destiny. So I'm telling you, I feel like I'm going to get shingles over this whole thing, because I just met with an agent who wanted to do some open houses. Now, I'm in Florida. Okay, my mom's been dying, and I have a full book of business. And I've asked somebody to help me with it. I'm doing 3 open houses this weekend, all in one day, because I want Sunday off, right? You know what she tells me? I got Zumba Saturday till I can't do it. Every Saturday, Sunday, I work to Zumba. This is a girl who wants to be on my team, because I don't even want a team anymore, right? But she has Zumba till 12. I go, you know what? Let me do you a huge favor. Huge favor. Get out of the business. You go, I said, you're like just trying to break into business. You got Zumba? I said, you know, it just blew my mind. And I texted my assistant. I go, WTF? Are you freaking kidding me? So for me, I'm only looking for people who are looking for me, just like a listing, right? Just like a listing. Do you want to work with any seller? No, you want to work with sellers that are going to listen to you, sellers that actually are realistic. Same thing with agents. I will teach you how to be rich. I will teach you how to be successful. But if you have more excuses than you have, you know, good habits, stay away from me. Don't waste my time. When I think of all the time I've wasted on people that promised they were going to do this, you know what my biggest fault is? I want more for them than they want for themselves. I want more for them than they want for yourself. So if that's you, get off your ass and make shit happen. Anyway, I'm out.
Oh,
Very-
Love you, Gail.
wow.
I really love you, Gail.
Passion.
You're awesome.
That's passion right there.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah. You know.
the truth
And
hurts,
by the
man.
way, everything she said was truth. So, you know, you're awesome,
Speaking the
Gail.
truth in a big
You
way.
know, we're here for you, Gail. Whatever you need, we absolutely adore you and love you. You know that.
And with that being
Even if you got my wife jealous when we first met, and you kissed me on the lips.
and you kissed me back.
I did. She was okay with it.
No.
All right, Pete, what's
I
up?
love this group, and I can't wait to be, you know, this is like the height. This is the only thing I've done in 3 months. Honestly, I haven't been on any other stuff. This is so important to me. I've loved the amazing talent, the leadership in this group. You know, I put it on my books. It's going to happen. And, you know, thanks for just, you know, hearing me out. So
All right,
love you guys. Appreciate you all.
Love you too, honey. All right, Pete, go ahead, bud.
Sorry, guys. We were getting set up. I was just getting out of my Zumba class and I wanted to get back to the office. You know, stretching it out, trying to make it happen, talking to people in the class. Everybody was sweating. Everybody was doing well. No, I'm only joking. So I think what everybody is saying is so true. The question I have for all the agents out there, and look, we're not trying to demotivate you. We're not trying to hammer you on these points coming home, but I think you have to look in the mirror and ask yourself, how bad do you want this? Because the market, especially out here in California, is definitely tough right now and it's challenging. And I'm always a positive person, but even I'm a little anxious about the office, to say the least. I mean, about the market, to say the least. I think you have to really look at it and say, okay, am I prepared for the next 90 days to not drink? Am I prepared for the next 90 days to go to bed by 10 and get up by 6? Am I prepared for the next 90 days to master my morning, where I get in the right mindset? Because unless you have the right vibration, you're not going to attract business. If you keep telling everybody that the real estate market is awful because rates are high, you're going to get more of that attracted to you. Everybody on this call, and I think this is a huge tip, should read this book right now. It's called Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting. It's one of the best books I ever read. Definitely order that today on Amazon. It's around $10 and it will change your life. It'll change your outlook. And when you change your outlook or you pivot your outlook, it'll change your path. It'll change your journey. It'll change where you're going in your business. Because listen, everybody is struggling. So be kind to people. You don't know what their struggle is right now. And a lot of people have excuses and they live in the victim mode. They live in the excuse mode. And, you know, like Gail said, I don't have time for that. I have to stay laser focused. And the people that want to come with me are going to come with me. And the people who don't aren't. But as Randy was saying, I think in this market, it's super important. It's not about ego. Your ego is not your amigo. It's about leveraging the leaders around you. Leverage what they've accomplished over the years. Leverage their notoriety. Leverage their listings. Leverage their sales. Leverage their history. Leverage their top of mind. And I think that's super, super important. You know, a lot of people have said in the past, fake it till you make it. I think you have to elevate till you make it, and you have to leverage till you make it. I don't believe in faking it, because I think you have to tell the truth, and it's all based on integrity and how you carry yourself. Nobody's perfect, of course, but in order to really thrive and get ahead, you have to come in with the right mindset, and you have to treat people a certain way, and you will be rewarded. The universe will reward you. You can tell this is my universe talk, because I've been in California the last couple of weeks and I've been in the zone. Wendy Ross knows what I'm talking about. I'm in the zone. You know, nowhere else in California can you go through an airport and they have a yoga room, right? It's pretty impressive. But I think that all of us as leaders have to lift up the people around us. We can't pour into them if they're not going to be there or they're not committed. But you have to really look at what you want your business to be. And are you going to work at it? Because you have to put in the work. And a lot of people aren't willing to put in the work. They show up in a temporary mind state. And what I mean by that is they show up at 9 or 10 and they work till 2 or 3 and they think that's a full day, and they're not making contacts or they're not prospecting. This is when we have to really beef it up, because look, I'm a realist. I'm an optimist, but I'm a realist. And the reality of it, you guys, and I've been through a lot of markets in my lifetime, late 80s, early 90s, the tech boom, 9/11, the financial crisis, the pandemic. If I've gotten through all of those, I'll get through this. But the big thing is you have to show up in the right mindset consistently, and you have to reach out to people. You have to get proactive and hunt them down. You can't be reactive. You have to be proactive, and you have to really go after it. If you don't do that, if you're not out on your caravan, seeing the inventory or networking with other agents or asking them what they have coming up, and then you're not putting that out there, you're not going to make any sales, and you'll be out of the business, because you'll eliminate yourself before the market eliminates them. God bless you, Bridget. And that's super important when you're looking at your mindset and what you're trying to do. So the big thing is, you know, if you're not on a team, I think teams are going to thrive right now because you can leverage the team if you really know how to do it. But you have to be able to get around your ego and your own personal stuff in order to join a team and really commit to it and go all in. Don't look at it as if you're temporarily parking yourself there with that team. You know, really go in and say, I'm going to pour into the team. I'm going to bring something to the team, and I'm going to help elevate this team to the next level. And by doing that, you'll be rewarded, because you'll be able to leverage the team's track record, the team's numbers, the team's production, the team's current listings, all those types of things, because that's what it is, you guys. It's all perception. Perception is reality. And if you can take all the, whatever brokerage you're with, because we have a lot of people from different brokerages. If you're with EXP, leverage all the EXP listings around. People aren't going to know if it's your listing or if it's Bridget's listing or Wendy's listing or Craig's listing. They're not going to care. Randy's listings. They want a deal. They want an opportunity. All that other stuff is background noise. If you're with Sotheby's, leverage the Sotheby's listings. Leverage the people in your office if they allow you to do that. That's what you have to do, because that's going to create emotion. That's going to create energy. That's going to create opportunities. And then know your scripts, know how to convert people, know how to listen, know how to ask open-ended questions and get them excited. You know, you have to remember right now, you guys, everybody's in a fear mode. They're fearful of the economy. They're fearful of all these crazy sit-ins at colleges and stuff. They're fearful of all this chaos that's going around, and they're fearful. They're fearful of the rates. They're fearful of the market. They're fearful if they're going to be able to pay their rent. You know, you have to walk them through it and say, look, it's going to be okay. You're doing this at the right time. Here's why. This is what the market's been doing over the last 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So why not buy right now? You know, I was reflecting the other day when I arrived out in California in 1996. I must have been out of my mind at that time. I should have just bought everything I saw, because right now I would never have to work. I'd have so many assets. It would be worth so much money. It's insane. But you know something? You have to live in the now. You can't live in yesterday. You can't live in tomorrow. Be present, master and win today by leveraging the leaders around you, and get your business on track. Lead with today. Lead with the right mindset. Don't focus on anything else. Take it one day at a time. Can you do it one day? Okay, then tomorrow, do it another day. Give it a day. Just do it a day. And every day, your goal is to find one person looking to buy, sell, or invest. Every day. If you do that, I guarantee you within 90 days, you'll string a bunch of deals together and the pressure will come off you. If it doesn't happen in 90 days, you have to reflect on, is this the right profession for you? Are you doing everything you have to? Because it's how bad do you want it? You know, if I threatened Randy, and this is a severe hypothetical example, but if I said, Randy, you know, we're going to line up one of your kids and do the worst thing to your kid ever unless you sell a house, I guarantee you Randy would sell a house, because the consequences are so extreme. You know, he would do everything in his power in life to protect his kid and to sell a house. He would stay there from morning, noon, night. He would not sleep. He would call, because he's a great dad. And that's what life's about, right? It's about your family, and it's about your kids, and it's about the future that they have. But what are you doing today to create the future you want? What are you putting into action? Or are you just being reactive? That's what you have to look at. And get out there and stay positive. There's a lot of negativity. I mean, I could walk outside my door and fall over negativity. And there's a lot of sad scenarios, but you know, some can't get caught up in that. You have to ask yourself, what am I willing to do? How far, how deep am I willing to go? Will you stay there till you sell a house? Will you show up every day till you sell a house? Will you hustle until you get a listing or help an investor get what they want? You know, that it's that old Zig Ziglar saying, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll automatically get what you want. It's impossible not to. And look at every single person on this Zoom, you guys, has had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows. But guess what? They pick themselves up, they dust themselves off, and they go to work and they show up again. Because if you sit there and drown in your sorrows, oh, I can't pay my credit card bills. Good. Show up, go to work. I can't pay my car payment. Awesome. Show up, go to work. I can't put food on the table. Good. Show up at 5, go to work. Some of my darkest moments, I used to show up 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Guess what? I would sell stuff, because there's no alternative. There's no second guessing. That's what you have to do. And elevate your game. You know, show up in suits, get dressed up. You never know who you're going to be in front of. I guarantee you it will lift your spirit up. It'll elevate your game, because you're in character, you're a professional, and you're going to make things happen. If you elevate how you look, and you elevate how you walk and how you talk, things will happen. I guarantee it. But you have to be in that mindset. And most people aren't disciplined to be in that mindset. It's really, really important. Read the right things. Don't watch the news for 90 days.
Is that the book?
That's it. Excuse me, your life is waiting. Read that book. It's all about the law of attraction. If you don't understand the law of attraction, read that book. It will change your life. And you'll say, holy shit, Pete was right. I thought about this and that happened. But you have to open up your energy. You have to make these things happen. People who are negative or toxic or downers, get rid of them. You don't even have to announce it. You don't even have to tell them, just move away from them. They're not worth it. Protect your energy. Shrink your inner circle of people that you trust and people that lift you up or elevate you or are positive or reinforcement to you. Do that. That's super important, you guys. And we all need this talk because we all go through that ebb and flow. I don't care how successful you are. You got to get back to the basics. It's going to get grindier. It will get tougher. That's the truth. But you have to look in the mirror and say, how tough am I? Is the market tougher than me, or am I tougher than the market? And what am I prepared and willing to do? And write it down and do it. Just do it. Don't come up with excuses. Oh, I have the sniffles, I'm not going in today. Oh, I don't feel good, I'm not going in today. I'm not going to make those extra calls. I'm going to go out to happy hour. Only go to happy hour if there's a bunch of people happy with money falling out of their pocket and want to buy shit. If they're not going to do that, then you're wasting your time. You know, that's what you got to do. You got to circulate and you got to come in, you got to get fired up, and you have to really apply yourself, because right now is the time to strike. This is one of the greatest opportunities in the real estate in the last 30 years, because people are going by the wayside by the second because they're soft and they're easy and they don't want to put in the time or the work. They'd rather be distracted and make excuses and go to Zumba or go to the gym or do this or go for a run or all that shit. I get it. But do it super early and get pumped up. Work out at 5 in the morning. Be in the office by 7 o'clock. Call expired. Call FSBOs. Call around just listeds. Call everybody you know. Who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know? Who do you know is looking to buy, sell, or invest in the next 30 days? Who do you know who I can help? Who do you know is getting divorced? Who do you know who just died? Who do you know just had a kid? Who do you know just got married? Who do you know is trying to retire early? Who do you know is trying to pay for college? That's what you have to do, and reach out to them and be excited and be animated and be pumped up and be helpful and come from a place of contribution and collaboration, not a place of what's in it for me. That's never going to work. That's called commission breath. And people can smell it a mile away. It's really bad because people get desperate and they're looking at it saying, oh, I got to make a commission. I got to make a sale. So I can do this, this, and this. But don't get caught up in the bullshit. You know, really, really apply yourself. We all have to get back to being structured and applying ourselves and working and work your ass off. That's what you got to do. That's the truth. I don't care. You can join the greatest teams on the face of the earth. You can be around the greatest people, the greatest salespeople. You can be around the greatest systems, but if you don't implement any of it and you don't apply it and you don't commit to it and you don't work it and you don't put it into action and you don't ask for the order, none of it's going to help. We could give you every tip under the sun. 99% of the people on here would not implement it. So what good is it? We're all guilty of them. Take 1 point, implement it. Here's the 1 point. Get that book and read it. Excuse me, your life is waiting on Amazon. Excuse me, your life is waiting, because it is. Read that book. It's inspirational, you guys. It'll get your mind in the right place. It's all planned out. The path is planned out. It's just, are you going to execute, or are you going to whine, bitch, moan, and complain? Because if you complain, you have to explain. If you don't complain, you don't have to explain. And take action and get fired up. That's the key. All right. That's all I have.
Good stuff, Pete. You always have
Mic
you always
drop.
bring the fire.
Yeah.
Mic drop right there, Pete.
Trying to.
So real quick, guys, you know, and we got a couple minutes there. I want to finish on because I could literally talk about this crap for 74 hours. First of all, we're not yelling at you. We love you. We want you to be successful. And sometimes it takes daddy and mommy to yell at people, right? Here's the reality. I've been doing this for 23 years now, and not as long as Pete because he's older than I am, but better looking. It's been one constant that I've seen the entire time. My favorite line in the world is by Henry Ford, is whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. I don't know how many people I can tell you that come into this thing and never never even actually believe they're going to be successful in this business. And you know what? They're not. I'm going to give you some stats because I just did these, and I think they're important to understand. I have a very large organization with 2,250 agents, right? Over the last 7 years, these are the numbers from the last 7 years. I just did them yesterday. Is 73% of the people that have left the EXP or my organization um, had 0 transactions. 73%. 82% had 3 or less. So 1, 2, or 3 transactions who left. And why don't they have transactions? There's only one reason. And I actually have really looked at, because I don't sell anymore, I get a lot of opportunity to really analyze. Um, is this a need for you or is it a want for you? If it's a need, you will be successful. Like Pete said, Vinny's going to have the house sale because he needs to save his kid's life, right? He's going to have a sale. I lost everything. I lost $82 million in 2000. And in 2001, when I got my license, I had $14,000 left in my name. And I needed to be successful. I sold my first house my first week. I knew 0 people. I didn't have a spare. I didn't have anything. I'm not telling you that to be like, oh, poor Mitch. I'm hugely successful again because I got off my ass and built my business. But it all starts with here. It all starts in your brain, whether you think you can or think you can't. You're right. If it's a need, you'll be successful. And Pete, it's funny you said that because I used to sell it to my agents all the time. Look, if I tell you you'll never see your kids again if you don't sell a house this month, what are you going to do? You're going to sell 5 homes this month, right? It's important. So it's really important to understand that. The other thing, and I'm going to tell you a quick story because I just went through this with one of our agents. We just had an agent leave, 4 months in the business, never sold a house, and I'm going to be very, very blunt on what I say. He's like, I just want to let you know I'm leaving. I'm going to go over to so and so. And I go, can I be honest with you? And I've been doing this for so long. I know if you were going to fail or not. And this kid has 0 chance of making it. I said, you're going to suck over there too. He goes, what do you mean? I go, well, you suck here. I go, I don't suck. EXP doesn't suck. You suck. And he got really kind of upset with me, but it's honest, right? I go, here's the trajectory of your real estate career. You're going to go there, friend of mine, Lynette's brokerage, and you're going to suck there, and you're going to blame Lynette just like you're blaming me. And then one of 2 things is going to happen. You're going to go to another brokerage and fail there. You're going to suck there. And then you're going to go get a job. So I would fast track now and go find yourself a job because you're not going to make it in this business. Now, I hope instead of taking this as an insult like you are, that you take this as a motivation to prove me wrong. But the reality is the guy's never going to make it. Other thing, when you're on a team, it's really important to understand. You have to understand expenses. And so I want you to think about this on a $10,000 commission on a 50-50 split. So team members, you're mad because you're paying 50% to your team leader, right? That's what happens at every team. I had a team, I had a brokerage. And the reality is I'm paying you 50% and you get that free. I have to pay my administrative people, my TCs, my lead generation, my platforms, all the tech stuff. I lose money on that 50%. I don't make money. I will tell you that almost every team leader becomes a team leader because they want to help you succeed. And the reason why they die or they become frustrated or whatever is because they're so frustrated trying to help you succeed and you're not doing the work. But it's also because they're not making any money. Team leaders do not make any money. And I'm very honest about this. When a team leader takes on that team role, they take on to help you succeed. Every team leader I talk to, well, I just want to help people get to my level. But what happens after 6 months or a year, they realize, oh shit, I'm losing all my money. Their production goes down dramatically, and they're begging agents to sell, and agents are not plugging in. So if you're on a team, or even if you're not on a team, if you're not plugging into what your brokerage has to offer, you are not going to make it. If you're not asking yourself, who's my customer, where's my customer, which is the first thing you should start every business with. I have 26 companies now. Who's my customer, where's my customer, and how do you get to them? You have to ask that. And again, we're not doing this to yell at anybody here. I'm just trying to help people grow their business. I want people to succeed. I love nothing better than when I see people sell way more homes than I sold, because that's very satisfying to me. What's hard is when we sit there and help people and they don't implement. So I'm going to give you one last tip. So years and years ago, I found that I didn't find this until 2004, but I've been doing this for about 35 years. Nobody is going to keep you accountable but you. That's it, just you. So, like everybody else out here, I struggle with that. We all struggle with that. Just because we appear to these poised, awesome people, look at my hair. I had hair, right? Pete's hair is falling out. Do you see it's getting thin up there? It's the stress, right? So, I learned this exercise when I was 21 years old, and I've used it my entire life. So it's more than 35 years. I'm crazy how old I am. 42 years. Is I use the mirror. I call it the mirror to your success. And I want you to do this today. One thing we're really, really good at as human beings is rationalizing. And we do it every day, all day long. I didn't do this because, right? You can say that all day, and you're going to convince yourself that's why I didn't do it. And you're lying to yourself. I want you to look in the mirror and look into your eyes, because you know who you can't lie to? You can't lie to yourself when you're looking into your eyes. And I do this every morning, guys, every single day. And I look in the mirror and I ask myself questions. Did I do, mine's all about contribution and helping people. That's all I care about. Did I help enough people today? Did I do enough to elevate one person today? All things I ask myself was I a good husband today? Well, yes, today. Usually not. Was I a good father? Grandfather? Always a good grandfather. I'm an awesome grandfather. You guys should have me as a grandfather. I'm really good. But I use the mirror, and I call it the mirror to your success. So you cannot lie to yourself. Look into your eyeballs, and I'll tell you, it's a little scary sometimes, because things that you did wrong in your life are going to come out. But that's okay, because you can forgive yourself for things that you did in the past, because your life starts today and moves forward. And you can't change what you did, but you can fix it by attitude. Anyways, try that today. I'd love to hear some feedback on when you do that and do that. Guys, thanks. Great panel today. Everything's always awesome. Great to have you back, Wendy. Great to have you on, Bridget. You guys are such a wealth of amazing information. And obviously, Pete and Lurch are always amazing, too. So have a great week, guys. We'll see you all next week.
Thank
Peace.
you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Kill it. See ya.
Bye.